Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Legend of Korra After Show, Episode 8, Remembrances. Joining me today is Mr. Tauri J. Miller.
Hey, hey.
And I'm John Quick, and unfortunately Ms. Liz Rishmaui was not able to join us this week. Again, I'm sure she'll try to be back. She'll try to be back next week, but she's going through a lot of issues right now. If you guys can, like, you know, send her good luck and a lot of positive energy via Twitter or in the YouTube comments,
she'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Please do. I mean, this is a really rough show to work on. I smell horrible. Like, I just have a personal body odor problem that it smells like I get hit by a skunk. And then, I don't know if you know this, but Tori is actually a werewolf.
I am. I often will trap people in the room with me on full moons, and then I'll just maul them for, you know, kicks and giggles.
And the weirdest thing is actually not, it's not even full moon dependent. We don't even know what his trigger is. It's just like all of a sudden he'll just like wolf out. I mean, there was that time that you mauled that perfume lady in Macy's, which we thought it was like surprise, but then we were playing Smash Brothers the other day just on the couch and just like bam, out of nowhere. So yeah. Nobody knows. So, you know, you got me, and then you got the lycanthrope. You know, this is, I don't even know. That's
a hostile work environment.
This is totally a hostile work environment.
Oh man! Start the comments.
But yeah, this week, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about the remembrances in this week, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna preface this. We know that there's been a lot of the reviews already popping up, and a lot of comments already about this episode. For those of you who don't know, this episode is what's known in the TV biz as a clip show. And basically a clip show is done whenever either the cast and creators are coming up on a vacation and just want to get something out the door, just get something in the can before they get out the door, or because of budgetary constraints, they still have to fill the same episode order, but they don't have the budget to do all the episodes to quality. So a clip show is usually put together in order to deal with that.
Yeah.
And in this case, as many of you in the comment section, a lot of you out there probably already know, there was a letter that was released by one of the creators of the show, not really apologizing for the episode, but explaining, you know, why exactly there was a clip show. And it basically came down to, while they were in production of this season, Nickelodeon came and slashed the budget for Korra Season 4. And basically they said that it basically took out, you know, enough of the budget to more or less like cut an episode, but they still had to fill the same number of episodes. They couldn't just, you know, not deliver one episode. And basically it came down to, we could either fire a bunch of the staff and continue on, or we can do a clip episode. And they chose to do a clip episode so that they could keep the team together and the quality of all the episodes, you know, at a consistent level. Which, you know, this is a little bit of lifting the curtain up on Hollywood, which, you know, which most of the times we don't want to know how the magic potion is made. We just want the magic potion,
right?
But, you know, but with this, like, you know, I understand. Like this episode, in terms of like where it comes in the season, you know, after we have had a lot, there's just a lot of pieces in play, and there's a lot of momentum. This does admittedly kind of grind the season a little bit to a halt. I'm a little ambivalent on the episode, but I can understand that. I can understand anybody out there, if you did not like this episode, like, that's perfectly understandable. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of an out of left field.
Yeah, I mean, and clip shows are hard to deal with because it's basically telling you everything that you already know. I mean, I like to think of it as a good way to kind of remember little details that you've missed and kind of get reacquainted with characters that you've fallen away from. So, I mean, that's one perspective. I mean, especially because the whole theme of this season has been looking back at Korra's enemies and seeing how they've influenced her and how they've essentially helped the world come to where it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a clip show could be basically encapsulating that before we move on to the nonstop action that we'll get with Kuvira and all that stuff.
Not that this was, like, I'll have to say, for when most shows do a clip show, it's completely and utterly phoning it in. This was not a phoning it in. Like, this wasn't Ember Island Players, which was a clip show done in Avatar, but it was done very, very cleverly. They couldn't do that, but you got to see, at least in the last third of this episode, between Varrick and Bolin, kind of, if they had really had the money to do, you know, a real, you know, a clip show the way that they would want to do it, we at least saw a snippet of, like, really what they had kind of wanted to do. But even with that, there's a lot of, they don't just like show you past clips like that gets introed by the characters. There's a lot of like commentary that goes over this from, you know, other characters in the show that are kind of poking fun at themselves and poking fun at plot points and poking fun at Mako because he's kind of an easy target now.
Yeah,
poor kid. But that's, I mean, you know, it's what you can expect from, it's really what you can expect from like these creators. Like, even when they're backed into a corner and they're given a raw hand, like, they still, you know, step up to the plate. So even if you don't like the episode, you know, just kind of like let it pass, and, you know, just remember that we got, you know, a lot more good stuff coming this way, and know that there is a reason why this happened, and it wasn't by like creator choice or laziness.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, and thank you for laying that out for everybody. Like, I mean, it's easy to just kind of come into the episode being like, nah, it's just stuff. But, like, knowing all that background is really helpful.
Yeah, so I think it was good of them to, I think it was good of the creators to release, you know, that letter to the fans, although that may come back to, you know, bite them in the politics that is, you know, Hollywood, and especially kids animation.
Right.
You know, it's a very small world. I really hope it doesn't, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, their show's over, so they're like, meh, we ain't got nothing to lose.
That's very true, but, you know, you got to look onto that. You got to look forward to like what's coming around the corner, and I, of course, we don't know what they're planning. Maybe they're going to be like, maybe they're watching BoJack Horseman and just going, it's like, hey, what if we did an adult cartoon on Netflix?
Then they have competition, and they should.
Yes, I agree.
Adult version of Varrick's Tales.
That would be awesome. I would so pay to see that.
It'd be great.
Yeah. But moving on into the episode, we get, since, as again, it's a recap episode, so of course we start in with a nice little recap from our master of the recap, Shiro Shinobi.
Oh, it's so good. Just like it took me by surprise for a second, because, you know, we always start the same way, but then he breaks the fourth wall and starts talking to us, and it, like, I was like, what is happening here? I can't even deal with this, especially as he's like pointing out different points where he was at.
Where he's an active part in like the episodes. Yeah.
So that was fun.
That was, and it's like, we always like think of the character, because we rarely ever see him, so you always kind of think of the character as just like, you know, the voice of the narrator, when he's an actual character within the show. So I guess it was kind of nice to be like, again, like you said, like point of a clip shows, like get reacquainted with some characters that you know hadn't seen in a while, and then we get to see Shiro back in the flesh.
But yeah. And so, yeah, and just jumps straight into Mako teaching Wu how to fight.
Well, you know, trying really hard. As Wu says, you know, getting kidnapped is really makes a guy, I guess, like reassess his priorities in life. Mako's like, yeah, I guess so. It's, you know, pretty sweet digs overall in like Asami's house. Like, she's just like, yeah, just go ahead and move into my place. I'm not living there.
Yeah. and he's being waited on hand and foot by Mako's grandma, who's like worshiping the ground he walks on.
Yeah, which actually going back, remember when it was a season ago when I'd speculated that that Mako's grandmother was actually in fact the girl that Zuko went on to the date with in Tales of Ba Sing Se.
Yeah.
At least according to one of our commenters, and I'm so sorry I'm forgetting who you are. Please comment in the sections and go, it was me, so that we can give you proper thanks. It was that girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's just tying it all together.
Oh man, and that's definitely true to form of what the creators of the show do. Is they like to make sure they have those little Easter eggs for you to connect in the background.
Yeah, just so longtime fans can just get that little bit of a thrill. It's just like, yay! Just a bit of a squee. You're allowed to squee,
but not too much.
Not too much. Gotta keep it. Gotta moderate the squee.
I'd say at like 5 to 6 E's, and then you're done.
Yeah. Let's not get crazy here.
No.
Not with the squeeze, but so yeah, we see the fight training with Prince Wu is going as well as you can expect. Mako barely even taps him, and then Wu's just on the ground saying "Wu down," and Mako's like, "That's basically your catchphrase, dude."
It's a pretty good catchphrase, though.
Well, yeah, I guess it is for expressing just how
weak his character is.
Like physically weak and also just a little bit emotionally weak, which as he figures out, like, Prince Wu knows absolutely nothing about Mako, like expressing this, like, I wasn't raised in the forest by police. And Mako's like, what, do you even know anything about me? He goes, no, actually I don't. Let's solve that problem. And then we're going into our first, just series of clips as Mako basically retells the story of the series all from his perspective, which, involves a lot of really good meta commentary on the love triangle between him, Korra, and Asami, and all of that entails.
I feel like these were all just pulled out of forums. Like, all the commentary was just like, yeah, that's what everyone thought. Yeah, that was a dumb thing not telling Korra that they weren't together anymore.
Or like one of the best parts, like when Mako and Asami break up in season 1, and the one dude in Prince Wu was like, dude, was that a breakup? Mako's like, yeah, that was totally a breakup. And even his cousin's coming in, yeah, that wasn't really a breakup, man. How do you know that was a breakup? It's like, whatever, it was mutual.
Yeah.
Totally, shut up.
Good on the quips.
But then just like moving forward, like him and, like, of course, season 2, him and Korra's relationship was such a dysfunctional nightmare.
Yeah.
It really was. Like, it was all those little clips of Korra's just like, I can't believe you're taking a side. I can't believe you're taking a side, which is just like, just going back to, like, because in season 2 they regressed Korra, way too much.
Yeah.
And they just like made her, actually, I would say that she was like more selfish and more childlike than what she was even at the beginning of season 1. I mean, they made up for it like spectacularly in season 3 and in this season. Yeah. But like, yeah, that was kind of good. It was kind of good to see. I like that they themselves, like, because a lot of fans have talked about, like, season 2 was really hit or miss. It's nice to see that the creators are, like, fully on and acknowledging that's like, yeah, it wasn't,
wasn't the best.
It's like, we got some things, but not everything. Of course,
yeah.
Again, going back to that, season 2 apparently was a rush job.
Right.
They got the episode order, and yeah, it like, there were behind the scenes things going on there as well, as as we're now seeing that has a lot to do with, like, in an episode that comes up, that you don't necessarily like in a really good show, there's probably a behind-the-scenes story that people can't talk about for fear of getting fired.
Right. I mean, and for all the flack that season 2 gets, I mean, I feel like that represents how teenage relationships go a lot of the times. Like, I mean, just because you like someone a lot doesn't mean that you're meant to be together. Yeah. So I mean, in that regard, I felt like it was well done.
Well, especially, like, of course, then there was, like, the super awkward moment where Korra comes back and, like, doesn't remember that her and Mako broke up, and she just kisses Mako in front of like Asami and everybody, and even Bolin's like doing like the side eyes looking over Asami, and Asami's just looking angry because Mako and her basically had gotten back together. And
Yeah.
And again, expressed by Prince Wu, that it's just like, no, you were, legitimately broke up with Korra. You were totally a free person, and you and Asami definitely have, an understandable, attraction and all this other good stuff. I was just like, I remember when that happened in season 2. I was just like, oh yeah, awesome. They're gonna put them two together. That's great. I actually kind of like them as a couple.
Yeah, they work.
And then they're just decided, nope, like we're gonna mysteriously have Mako just become a total coward, like right now. But it is come down to like so many guys in that situation would do basically the same thing.
Right. I mean, because it's hard, because he does like, or at the time he did really like Korra. I mean, and they broke up, but like for him, I think he saw it as a chance to try again, start anew, even though like it was the worst decision he could have made.
Yeah, that was just like, I'm just going to lie by omission here. Oh, but especially Mako's grandmother, and it's just like your grandfather. Which just kind of makes me, like, it just makes me wonder, it's like, wow, what was Mako's grandfather like? Because apparently the dude was a total rake.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's, wow.
I hope he swoops in around the end of this season, and he's basically Boomy too.
That would be awesome.
No.
I don't think. Well, maybe we'll get something like that. I don't
doubt it.
Yeah,
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, no, we're probably not. But I like how it like wraps it all up with just Prince Wu going. It's like, I have learned something. Ladies are really complicated. No offense, Grandma.
None taken.
Yeah, like, of course, like Prince Wu was doing the classic. It's like, I have ladies all over me all the time, guys. You just don't know them. They're from Avatar Canada. It's like, I met her on the Spirit Vine network.
Yeah, you just plug in, you swipe left, swipe right.
Yeah, that's totally what's going on.
She's really into the videos I used to make. They were only 6 seconds. Transferred over Vine. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah, but then of course, we move on from Mako and Wu, and now with Korra and Asami on Air Temple Island, in which we get, again, there's been a lot of great shipping Korra Asami fodder this season. Have you noticed that? I don't know if they're doing it deliberately to mess with us, or if they're just like, hey, you know what? Last season, let's do it.
I mean, from a shipper standpoint, yeah, it's open season. But from like a regular person standpoint, you're like, well, that's how friends are. Friends look out for one another and they chat and stuff. But I want that to be a thing, so I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
But like with this, well, with before, when it was more of with Wu and Mako, we had more of a like looking back and kind of like skewering a little bit of the weak points. From seasons past. This was a little bit more of, it was analyzing, like we got some insight into like what's been going through Korra's mind, and it just comes down to like she was reflecting on what Toph said of her, that the world doesn't need an avatar, and she was like, and it was naive, but it is like something that heroes, they sometimes tackle with heroes, but they don't always. But it is a good story to go on. It's like, no matter how many of the bad guys I beat, there's always a new bad guy. What difference am I really making in the world? And Korra's struggling with that because she doesn't know, like, we saw when she was talking about her, like, her flashback, like, she was, so gung-ho to be the Avatar. She was so ready to get out there. She wanted to make a difference. She wanted to change the world. And what she said is, like, I was so naive. And in some ways she was, but, but like at the same time, like, when heroes are going through this, it is very easy to get disheartened when, like, you're trying to protect the world, but it seems like no matter what you do, there's always, like, once you clean up one mess, somebody's already created an even bigger one just around the corner.
Well, I mean, and it's a thing that's reflected in heroes, but it's also a thing of life. It's like, even when you're dealing with one problem, there's always another one brewing that you don't even know about. And so, like, life is struggle. Life is overcoming challenges. It's never gonna be an easy ride.
Yeah, and even as like Korra is like getting, you know, down on herself for, you know, basically like for not living up to her own expectations, Asami is giving her like a lot of perspective in that. It's just like, no, look at all you did. It's just like, yeah, there was, you know, there was a Mon, and, you know, maybe you didn't handle it like, you know, the absolute best way possible, but you exposed him. You took, you know, you destroyed the equalist movement, and now Republic City is like free elections, and, you know, benders and non-benders have equal say in how the government is run.
Yeah,
you know. And it was like, those are things that Korra isn't kind of taking into perspective, and I think that they're, you know, that sometimes, you know, watching the show that you can forget. It's like, oh yeah, you know, you know, she has like managed to overcome, you know, quite a bit. Like, we don't necessarily like we don't necessarily like look at it that from that perspective, because Korra is a meathead character trying to solve like cerebral smart person problems, and so of course her solution is never going to necessarily be perfect.
Right. I mean, but at the same time, and yeah, it's really hard to kind of take a step back and see the dominoes that have fallen based on stuff that's happened. Like, all she sees are the enemies themselves, not the results of what happened within them.
Yeah.
With the only one that she actually sees the after effects of is Zahir, because they're negative, and she likes to harp on the negative.
Well, she's really, really down on herself because of, well, I guess because of just like the fact that she got like so injured, and because of the fact that she was injured and she had been gone from the world for basically 3 years, that was the direct lead into Kuvira's rise to power.
Right.
And in some ways, you can see where she's coming from, but in a lot of ways, it wasn't just the fact that Korra wasn't there. There were so many people who could have stepped up to do something about Kuvira, but everybody just decided, it's like, no, let's let this, you know, not at all Napoleon person, or so I guess Sozin in this show. So yeah, just, you know, go ahead and lead an army. Like, apparently everybody just turned a blind eye to the glaring warning signs that were probably popping up from as soon as she took over Ba Sing Se. Right.
Well, I think that she was more covert, and from the outside, it looks like she was making progress. Yeah. I mean, and she has active supporters. However, I mean, her methods, like, more recently came to light as she's become more dictatory and, you know, usurping the throne and all that stuff. But, like, and I kind of feel like Korra's not wrong. Like, I do feel like Kuvira, I mean, though Korra probably wouldn't have made great movements in terms of unifying and getting rid of the chaos, like, I feel like if she was still active, Kuvira would have never been in a position to take power.
Yeah. But, you know, I guess also at the same day, like, I go back to this, Sue could have easily squashed all of this if she had just stepped up to the plate a little bit.
Right, but I mean, Sue is all about non-individual governance.
Yeah.
So she would have never taken that role as someone to, like, because she would have seen it as being a queen, or what Kuvira is a dictator.
Yeah.
So it's not in her character to step up in that way. Like, I mean, maybe Tenzin could have done it, but he was still he was getting the Air Nation together. And President Raiko's pretty useless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he runs the United Republic, which apparently is like,
super easy.
Yeah. Well, I guess enough of him. But, like, yeah, but speaking of Tenzin, he does come in at that last moment to talk to Korra about, like, you know, it's like, you have changed so much and grown into such a great avatar. You shouldn't, you know, be down on yourself. Like, it's like you have gotten better as a person and as an avatar, and it kind of was exactly what Korra needed to hear at that moment. So yeah. I mean, so that'll probably at least lead into the next episode. And then on our final third of this episode, oh my god, this was, You know, if you didn't like the first 2/3 of the episode, I completely understand. But this last third makes up for any gripes that I had. This was like, I don't need, like, this made up for everything. It's just like a great, almost 10-minute short film of Varrick being as Varrick as he can be. Basically, Varrick decides to pitch the best mover ever, starring Bolin as Nuktuk, as Bolin.
So meta.
It's just like, wait, am I Nuktuk, or am I playing Nuktuk, or is Nuktuk is playing me? Both. We'll capitalize on the. On the franchise that is Nuktuk to get more people into it. You get that there's a lot of meta commentary going on right now with Varrick, with you know, that's almost too many cooks-ish.
I literally just got that stuck out of my head. You jerk. Anyways, but yes, and I love that, like, even though there were clips, it was all just like out of context. Just such great storytelling, and the extra stuff made it all the more better. Like with all the villains and stuff. The
phone call, the fearsome foursome, or evil squared, or
the terror square.
Yeah, the terror square. I'm gonna focus group on that one. Yes. Oh, but yeah, like, so Varrick just launches into the story, basically, you know, pitching Bolin as the hero, and Bolin is just like, well, why? I betrayed everybody, and I went off to follow a dictator. He's like, you're just emphasizing the wrong story beats. This is how it goes. And he tells this just like overblown story with singing and way too many characters and explosions and Pabu shooting lasers out of his eyes. Oh, and did you notice, like, in the part where he was talking about Bolin fighting Unavatu, that they actually just superimposed Bolin's face on the Korra? Yeah.
That was great.
That was such... I didn't notice that my first time. I only saw that, like, coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why it, like...
Because it blended so well, and then you, like, take another look, like, because... The first time you see it, because it's all Korra's hair and everything, and they have similar facial structures.
Yeah.
And then you're like, nope, that's Bolin. That's weird.
Well, especially I like when, like, Bolin tries to interrupt him, like, you know, trying to, like, put some more realism or, like, heart, like, you know, more, like, heart to it. Like all of the other people that have been sitting, all the other refugees are just like, no, when does the singing start?
There was no singing.
Yeah, shut up. Let's let this man keep telling his story.
Ah, man. But yeah, and I just want to reenact the phone call. I don't know why, but anyways,
it's just like, wait, Zahir teamed up with Vaatu? How did that happen? How do you think it happened? Ring.
I'm glad I caught you at home.
That's really funny because, you know, I'm stuck here and all that.
Is the other guy on the line?
Yeah, and then Amon shows up, or the reincarnated zombie of Amon, or something like that. And I especially love how they actually got, because they have Steve Bloom voicing Baraz, the firebender refugee, and so, like, of course they just had to have Steve in the booth. It's like, hey, could you do Amon again? Just like, a few lines. Just really, he's like, oh yeah, well, why not? So we got some new records from him, and then just like the stupid voice that they put over Unalaq, and I like how they didn't actually use Unalaq. They used Unalaq from the Movers, the evil sorcerer Unalaq, and it was very clearly the guy that does Varrick, just you know, like, affecting a really fake voice. Hey guys, I want to be in on this too. Nobody wants you here.
You always got to have that friend that no one likes.
In the Super Friends, it's Aquaman.
Yep. In South Park, it's Cartman. And in the Terror Square, it's Unalaq.
But then, like, especially, like, how it all ends with just, like, you know, just the big overblown climax that makes no sense, and then Bolin is just, like, walking around, it's like, you cannot honestly like any of this. Why are you cheering? And they're just like, dude, calm down. It's just a mover. Just expressing all of my frustration with anything Michael Bay has done.
Especially the last line, which super applies to Pearl Harbor, where it's like, never let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
Yeah, which is really weird, because that's like essentially the moral to one of my favorite movies, The Man Who Shot Liberty Vance.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially the moral of the story, and that's a fantastic movie, but you can see that that has a dark side to it.
Yeah. I want Varrick to tell the rest of this season. I want it all from his perspective.
I wonder if we can just get, like, I don't know, they don't, I guess, like, if they had, like, more money just to do it, like, that would be awesome, just to have it do a Varrick does recaps.
Yeah.
Like, as a podcast, because I would listen to that. It'd almost be like a riff track. I mean, it would essentially put us out of business, but...
well, I mean, if we could get him on here, we can just have him do it the whole time, every week.
That would be incredible. We need to make that happen. We just have him in here and just like, all right, you know, we'll just sit back and go.
Yeah. Fans, to the Twitter, let him know that we want him on this show.
Yes, all of you, please.
He's like, what is AFTERBUZZ?
He might just. I don't know. No, people know who we are.
Yeah, no, we're important people.
Maybe not me and you, but people know who AFTERBUZZ is.
Yes.
Because it's... And I don't... this is starting to go to insulting lengths.
No, I mean, well, people would know, or people will continue to know us if you go to iTunes and rate and subscribe. It helps us get more people on the show. It helps get our name out there in the universe. So keep on doing what you're doing. Go to iTunes, give us 5 stars, let our producers know that we're doing an amazing job. Bam!
Wow, that was honestly the best plug I think we've ever done on this show. Mostly because I'm reading them, so you know. But on that note, that wraps us up for this week. We'll see you guys all next week, and hopefully Liz Rishmawi yet again going back to, it's like, who put this guy in charge? Will be with us. Where can they find you, Mr. Miller?
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TaurijAY. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV on assorted panels like The Flash, Arrow, and Sword Art Online.
And guys, I'm John Quick. You can find me at Twitter at @NowQuick, and you can find Ms. Liz Rishmawi at Lizzie Maui on Twitter.
LIZZYMAWY.
Thanks for joining us. Please like and comment. 5-star on iTunes. We'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.